What it do, good people? It's your man, SubSir. You know what time it is. It's that time when we just speak about a couple of things that are happening around us, man. Today, I'm going to be basically commenting on the Mastersclass podcast, I believe. They had a round table and they had a great panel of speakers, obviously. Amongst the speakers was Speaker, there was Slicker on there. There was, I think, Zinga and obviously Rashid, and you know the guy from Hip Hop on the Grind. There was this young man, and obviously the Mastersclass co-host. Those are the people that made up the round table and basically the panel. And they were discussing obviously everything hip hop, you know, how hip hop is looking in the country, you know, looking at, I guess, reflecting almost on the year and how 2024 has been for hip hop. And, you know, they were comparing it to, I think, the 2021 year. I don't know, when apparently KO got his first million views on YouTube. I believe he was the one who broke a record. You know, back then. I don't know which song, because I'm not really well versed in that mainstream stuff, you know. But yeah, it was a very great conversation, and you know, a lot was said around what could be done to grow the industry within South Africa, more specifically, you know, the hip hop industry. I mean, we competing with Amapiano, we competing with house, we competing with, I guess, you know, the Limpopo music and style, obviously. But you know, essentially, what they were trying to do, or trying to say, is, you know, there has to be opportunities created, but also there are challenges, you know. The fact that apparently, you know, according to Rashid, hip hop attracts broke people. What? I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but that's basically what they were talking about. A lot of positive things were said. I believe that a lot of gems were shared in terms of what could be done. I like what Slicker said when he basically spoke about the importance of not overlooking the underground, or rather overlooking an alternative sound, you know. And that's basically what stood out for me, because I don't think it was well represented, in a sense that there was no one on that panel that sort of like represented alternative music. I think what Speaker represents, if I'm not wrong, is Kasi rap mostly. But obviously Speaker has his platform open to everybody. But at that time, and when he was speaking, I think not at the time when he was speaking, but rather I think they brought him in because he is almost like a representative of Sotra and Kasi rap. You know, you would, that's how I believe they invited him over. And I think the dude from the Hip Hop on the Grind was basically representing alternative, what I would quote unquote call boom bap at this stage, but it's not necessarily boom bap. There's so many alternative styles of rap within hip hop, you understand? So but yeah, I think what my take home was that nobody really has the answers, you understand, except that they will tell you that you need to work hard and you need to put yourself out there, you need to do this, you need to do that. The usual stuff that you're used to hearing when you go to a typical music workshop. So when I was listening to them speak, it was like, okay, I already know this information. I know that I have to have a ring light and shoot content and post it on TikTok or Facebook, and hopefully hope that I get the required buzz or reception. And yeah, that's all cool. But I think they neglected some of the greatest people. I don't know. Rashid was still making jokes about Stogie in a way. Obviously, I think he was referring to, I think he was referring to Stogie, but there's no other guy. I mean, Stogie is the only guy who said a statement about, you know, the difference between an OG and an old nigga, you know. But I feel like the likes of Stoja are very important because they are doing or creating that alternative hip hop, and they're able to live off it. Those are the relevant people to come into such workshops to actually workshop artists of alternative styles to basically learn from or teach or to learn from them on how to go out and sell that kind of hip hop outside of this country. Because I think the likes of Christian Ty with the Tough Gym Entertainment, that's exactly what he's trying. He's trying to provide a platform for indie artists, and I think he could have been part of the platform as well, because he's fighting that fight. And I think the industry needs to hear that perspective so that we can be able to reel in sort of like investors so that they can come into the alternative side and really put money into that so that we can push somebody. You understand? I believe that Tony Dengler, it's funny that when they were talking about the artists that are hot, they only were sort of like focused on the more mainstream cats. But we know that Tony Dengler just killed the KZN Cypher deadly, you understand? And all of these kind of guys, basically guys like Tony Dengler, deserve to be given that same spotlight. They need to be talked about. You understand? So I feel like it was not reaching to me as an alternative, or as a person who considers themselves as an alternative option to the creation of hip hop. So I feel like that's what we needed. A movement like a Impetus should not be neglected as well. I think someone from that stance was supposed to be present in that workshop to talk about what hip hop looks like from that stance. You understand? Because I believe that South African hip hop is very, very, if I may say, it has a lot of variety, and that variety has to have all representatives, But I mean, Motswako was also not necessary. But I feel like Motswako falls under sort of like Kasi rap. So I don't think it was misrepresented or spaza. They are all sort of like Kasi rap. Even when you take Espito, it's all Kasi rap. You understand? But what I was saying is that I feel like artists that want to sort of like push an alternative type of style are not well represented in such conversations, and it scares me. And I'm not saying that maybe it was entirely shut out, because I mean Slicker did touch on the fact that younger kids need to learn from the OGs and stuff like that. But I think we can do better at on the next, I think, round table. We can have those kind of people like Kanif, the Jet Master, or somebody, to come and represent, that alternative style. Also, I think they missed out on talking about battles. Peace Speaker did mention sort of like them as a platform that artists that beef can go to settle their differences. Well, but I don't think it was represented as a craft and as a style, in the sense that we can learn a lot from the battle league people. You understand? To say, how is battle rap looking in South Africa? What needs to be improved? What needs to happen? Sort of thing. So I think every aspect of hip hop has to be represented. I don't know if you still have a lot of hip hop dancers or graph artists. I don't think we have a lot of those. But I personally believe that we could have gotten a lot of insight from those kind of people and see exactly what their challenges are, and if the likes of Rashid and because they have the influence, they work with the big corporations, they work with the big broadcasters, and they have access, so they could have taken these platforms and really giving them an opportunity to grow and expand. Understand what I'm saying? But yeah, all in all, yeah, I think it was a great conversation, and I think that it's beautiful that we have these kind of roundtables where people can basically come together and talk about the game and how it can be improved. I think that makes hip hop more than just music, but rather a whole association. And I believe that's exactly what the South African Hip Hop Association is trying to achieve. I think it's trying to represent hip hop in South Africa holistically and basically drive, ideation and drive execution and drive a consistent conversation to ensure that the game doesn't die out. And I think hip hop is in safe hands. Hip hop is doing good and it's healthy. It's at its healthiest. Their prediction is that 2025 is going to be better. I'm looking forward to seeing that, but I'm also looking forward to seeing it within the alternative space. That something has to be now. Platforms like LinkedIn Bars and Friends and Inner City Ciphers and Level Up. I'm in Tough Jam Entertainment, also Level Up Battle League. I think all of these, even the Splash Jams, the likes of DJ Zags, Mixmaster can actually drive insight. And those kind of movements, like I said, IAPTers should not be neglected. They should also be involved in the conversation because they are part of the conversation. And we have people like myself who gravitate towards such. With that said, man, I would like to leave it here. I think you should check it out. Please, man, go check out that conversation. It's really, really fruitful, and you can learn a lot. And don't forget to catch us every Sunday on the Bars of Bars radio hip hop show on Merafong 360 Radio with your man Elo SubSir, where we play you mostly adult contemporary hip hop, but where we have fruitful conversation, where we bring in studio guests who are going to talk to us about what could actually be done. With that said, I would like to say peace and love. Vho Elo. Well,